various reports, but often got things backwards when he drew conclusions from the data. He sent his son to school on a field trip day without the permission slip, the bag lunch, or the swim suit required. His son had to stay at school with a younger class. The family's electricity had been turned off twice because Eric forgot to pay the bill, and then didn't notice the deadline for disconnection or the hefty reconnection fee. What types of verbal working memory problems interfere with your life? Self-regulation of emotion and self-motivation. Using the mind's heart. The fifth executive function that develops is the self-regulation of emotion. Emotions are primitive yet powerful signals we give off to ourselves and others as to our current feelings, intentions, and state of arousal. But they are also strong motivators of our subsequent actions. They can arouse us to act or prevent us from acting. They can tell us to fight or send us into flight. They can signal within and outside of us our impatience and anger or joy and affection. If we have no control over our emotions, we have a lot less control over what we do. Emotions arise whether we want them to or not. They are triggered naturally by external events of all kinds. Sadness is triggered by loss or anticipating loss. Anger is triggered by unfairness, humiliation, unmet expectations, or unanswered needs. Joy is triggered when our expectations and needs are not only met, but exceeded, and when our desires are fulfilled. But it's not just external events that bring on emotions. The resensed experiences and self-talk made possible by nonverbal and verbal working memory also have emotional overtones. Picturing your spouse might bring on a feeling of love. Talking to yourself about some injustice you recently suffered can make you feel rage. Fortunately, nonverbal and verbal working memory are also instrumental in helping us regulate our emotional response. We can use self-talk to deliberate with ourselves about how we feel and what we should do about it. We can use our visual imagery and self-speech to try to alter an initial emotional reaction that might cause problems for us, especially if that initial response pushes us into regrettable behavior. Many adults with ADHD say they would be sunk without self-talk. They also find using visual imagery very beneficial, but say it requires practice, and more practice. What's been your experience? How self-regulation of emotion.
Hey guys, Kev here. Today we're going to do a tutorial on delayed clicks. Delayed clicks are extremely powerful moving modules, so you'll see them all the time on top of the game. Here's some examples. That first one with a very high trajectory, and a very powerful one with lower trajectories as well. The example after this is making your arrow change the direction of the click. Now to teach you this, I'll do a little demonstration on part of this. Go check out my presentation with beautiful artwork, and then I'll show you how to practice this replay and give you some tips. Now there's a lot to learn, so let's get right into it. So the first thing you need to know is that physics works differently in Rocksmith than in real life. So in normal physics, this is the top example. We have a ball with an angular trajectory approaching a flat surface. Let's say 60 degrees. Simply put, once it hits that flat surface, it reflects. So the angle of incidence, the approaching angle, is 60 degrees. Equal to the angle of deflection of 60 degrees. Now the bottom example, in Berkeley physics, the center of mass is the originating force vector. So whenever a ball collides on top of the hitbox, you get a diagonally upward vector here, which changes the ball trajectory after the bounce. That means if you had an angle of incidence, say 60 degrees, you might get something like 50 degrees. Not totally accurate, but you get the point. So this explains some of the weird interactions with ball collisions that we see in the game. If you drop a ball in the front of the car, then up into the brake vector causes a force on the ball, which makes the ball spin forward. Now dribbling, that means when you bounce the ball in front of the car, you know that the ball will move ahead of the car, meaning you have to speed up like